Today is the day that our entire team is gathering at the Fox factory in South Whitley, Indiana, and seeing for the first time essentially the finished product.
This instrument exposes Fox to some other players that are currently seeking that larger, more modern instrument.
There's an appetite for more sound, still with flexibility and a lot of strength.
We started putting together the team of bassoonists to be involved in this. We all tried the existing pro bassoon lineup, came to a consensus about the direction that we wanted to see a new model going in.
We have musicians from the Metropolitan Opera in New York, the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra, the Houston Symphony. The task was to develop an instrument that was flexible enough to meet the needs of those players wherever they are. It's been quite a journey. We started this project back in 2020, and we were looking at our professional bassoon lineup and realized that something might be missing there.
I thought it was really interesting that Fox wanted a team of, non-Fox artists.
What we're trying to do is take what Fox does really well, which is a stable, even scale, and add to that flexibility of pitch, flexibility of resonance, and an ease of playing.
We all kind of centered in on evenness of scale. We all play in orchestras or have played in orchestras, and that consistency is so key for us.
I was looking for an instrument that had focus in the sound, meaning that the core resonance in the sound was something that you could really depend upon, because that's what's really going to take an instrument that is not a loud musical instrument and help with the projection in the hall. In addition, you don't want to have that to be so laser focused that there is still warmth, there is still the subjective beauty in the sound.
For me, I want an instrument that feels alive when I play it. I just want something that I can feel I can sing on and have it vibrate under my fingers and feel really alive.
I was interested in being a part of this project in the first place is we bassoonists just need more accessible, affordable, in a relative sense, options for really top quality instruments.
It's very difficult to get an instrument that does meet those needs. The availability is very low and the instruments are very expensive. We tasked ourselves with building something that meets those needs, but is also available to the public. We decided very intentionally not to look at our old bassoons because we didn't want to be influenced by that design philosophy or that thought process. We really just started from scratch.
Instead of taking an existing model and doing some modest tweaks, we really treated it as what it should be, which was a holistic effort.
We spent a couple of years in the design process where we decided, okay, this is what the bore is going to look like. Okay, these are where the tone holes are going to go, and this is what the size of them should be, and all sorts of little details of geometry that make an instrument what it is, that make it the experience a player has.
We've been getting some feedback from the market that they want a thicker wall, which yields some longer tone holes, and it really satisfies projecting more out in the orchestra.
The significant differences with this bassoon are the body size, the shape of the bore, what size it starts at, what size it ends at, and everything that happens in between. The relationship of tone holes to each other and the size that they all are. The first time we got the bassoon development team together, everybody in one place with prototype instruments was so nerve-wracking for me because we had been working on this instrument for years, and now the rubber meets the road.
I couldn't believe it the first day that I sat down with these prototypes, how finished a product they already were.
With Billy Short being involved, he's a very hard person to please. All these musicians are very discerning, but Billy is very analytical.
I've been playing a prototype in the orchestra, taking notes, constantly bothering the folks at Fox with little persnickety things about this key or that note or what can we do about this, until finally we arrive here where we're so close to the finish line and we can see the final product in our sights, and it's just unbelievable.
Would we want it so you have a little bit more of a ceiling, or kind of get the pitch center a little bit higher?
Tighten up the bottom so that it doesn't drop out on you, and that if I could have a little more room on the top.
Understanding instrument feedback is a challenge in and of itself.
It was a little bit lower, but not worlds lower. It sounded
Tweaking to me.
Yeah.
All right, what'd you think?
How to talk about instruments and how to listen to people talking about instruments. What does dark mean? What is bright? Oh, that note's flat. Okay, is the pitch flat? Is the tone flat? Is the timbre? There's so many different things for every little critique someone could have for an instrument.
They're gonna make these adjustments, voice the C and B, voice the F, and experiment on H with opening up the high C vent.
I still have ring key issues with H, which is this one. And I can't play pinky stuff very comfortably.
The job of the engineer, who hopefully is also a musician, is to filter that comment through the concepts that you know. Changing a tone hole in this way has effect A. Changing a tone hole in this way has an effect B. If I open the bore here, this is what's going to happen. If I close it here, this is what's going to happen. We know these things conceptually in the general. And then when you get feedback, it's interpreting that feedback, taking those general concepts and making them very specific.
Anytime you open tone holes, there's a little bit of danger of going too far, so we want to take it little by little until we had it just right. We knew what the problems were going to be, and we were ready to fix those, just tweak those.
Trying to ask the right questions. Is there something that we can do about this? What do you generally hear about instruments that have this quirk? Does that bother other people, or is it just me? Because just as important as solving your own problems with the instrument is identifying where those problems are a universal thing that will make everyone's life better through solving them, versus where they are just your personal preference, your personal quirk.
After we had landed on our final design for the 750, our next task was to see if we can reproduce it in a production setting. So we made a first run of 5 instruments, and then we brought everybody to Fort Wayne.
This is the first time that we're seeing 5 examples of our finished product that will be presented to the public this summer. And it's the day that I get to choose my final instrument that I will be playing full-time from now on. And so even though I woke up this morning sick, it's still among the most exciting days of my professional career.
The day was May 13th, and we were so excited about it. I was due to give birth to my second child on May 21st. So we were cutting it close. My baby decided he was going to come 10 days early. Fortunately, I have a very understanding husband who knew I wanted to be there desperately to see the birth of my 3rd child during this process. And we actually stopped by the hall where we were playing bassoons on our way back from the hospital with our brand new baby. You have to decide on a birth date for the bassoon. The bassoon might be the 3rd baby. We heard Andrew Brady playing the most beautiful bassoon music I have ever heard in my life. We were so proud. He's a phenomenal player. He will sound phenomenal on any bassoon that he plays. But it was very touching, heartwarming to hear this instrument that we had worked on be played on a stage and for it to be performing well. We are talking about nuances today. We're talking about specific note intonation. We're talking about overall resonance and matching from note to note on the instruments, and also, can we execute consistently?
Yeah, so the work we did today will be applied to more that they manufacture. That'll be the baseline. We're different players, and we preferred notes to sit slightly differently or to voice things differently. But I think our end goal was to not do too much in one direction so that it'd be accessible for people with different styles. So we wanted to get it to, baseline, And then from there, people's reed setups, their vocals, that can make a lot of difference as well.
Everything we learned on that day is what every 750 will be from the get-go coming out of the factory. So that the goal of that day with the committee was to decide on the final specs for all of these instruments.
What I did, which was really interesting to me, is I took one of the ones that I had not chosen as my favorite, and I just went into a room and I sat down and played on it in isolated. I wasn't comparing it to another instrument at that point. This feels good. And this was not one of the ones that I had chosen.
They were very surprised by how consistent instrument to instrument we were, which we take a lot of pride in. We really lean into honing in the manufacturing process, keeping things as consistent as possible.
The consistency in reality was quite great. They all felt good. And I think that's one of the most important things.
The instrument in its entirety is built here in South Whitley.
Fox is more than just a place where we make instruments. It's a big part of the community in this little town. I'm in the body shop, which is where the whole instrument manufacturing process starts. Every instrument that we make at Fox Products, they are 100% made in our factory in South Whitley, Indiana. I'm currently standing where the original Fox factory was when Hugo Fox retired from the Chicago Symphony and he converted his family's chicken coop into a bassoon factory. We're still in the same location and we still make everything. Everything starts when we get, of course, the wood into the factory. Then we send the wood to age. Right now, all our professional wood is about 20 years old and we love that. That's kind of what we aim our pro wood to be aged for.
I really find a lot of personal inspiration in the fact that we are literally buying the logs and bringing them to South Whitley to take them from a veneer log all the way through to the finished instrument.
So we're milling down the outside of the instrument, we're boring the inside. We also do everything in a number of steps so that the wood can adjust and age and be more stable. So we'll drill a hole, we'll wait a while. We'll sand a little bit more on the outside, we'll wait a while. And by a while, I mean weeks, often months. And then they'll go out to paint and they'll get their varnish applied, and that has to dry for a very long time.
Controlling our own destiny, controlling our own quality is something that we take a lot of pride in. When we took on silver plating in 2016, that was quite an undertaking, but one that's bearing a lot of fruit. Silver plating is extremely complex. There's so much care that needs to be taken into the surface finish of the key part going in, and then keeping the balance of the chemical bath, and then also controlling the electricity that's going into the bath. So you're constantly fighting a lot of variables. It's something that's not just kind of set it and forget it. We have a very automated, beautiful, clean system. It takes a lot of care and maintenance to keep it to the caliber that we have it.
So we get sheet metal and we cut it into keys, and then a person puts an instrument together. They mount the keys and they put the pads in and they adjust it.
We merge technology with the craftsmanship that it takes to finish out the instruments, making sure that we're using technology to make the parts as consistent as possible, the bodies as consistent as possible.
Excellence in execution. Design a bore and get it right. Design a tone hole and get it right. Do it well. And then when you're putting it together, do it even better so that the instrument itself is mechanically sound, it's robust.
It's our job in here to know where all these key parts go on the horn. We have to be able to fit the cups to the arms by hand filing and grinding, shaping parts, silver soldering. I've been doing it about 23 years, and it takes quite a bit of time to learn this skill, to learn all the little details that we need to know to put them together correctly. And it takes practice to get it right.
There are a handful of great bassoon repair technicians in the United States, but there are only a handful of them. And working on bassoons is a highly skilled job. So Fox being in the United States is a real benefit to players who are here because we can service the instruments we put out in the world. We can do custom key work, we can do custom tuning, all things are possible.
What the factory is like now is astounding. I remember the first time I took a tour of this 25 years ago. I mean, it's a completely different place than it was then.
The engineers that we've worked with and the leadership of the company is fantastic. They have exactly the right mindset. They're curious, and they are asking questions of musicians, of engineers, and trying to put them all together.
I guess what strikes me the most is just where we started and where it is now. It all comes from this basic knowledge of what feels good and what works. And so hearing people describe that and come at that from different angles, that's been really illuminating. I think we're all working toward the same goal, and it's produced something that's really great.
It was really important to me that the final product be something that I was happy to play in the Met Orchestra. I did not want to find myself in a situation where I could be telling someone, oh, this is a great instrument, but it's a great instrument for you. It's not good enough for me. And I have to tell you, as soon as I brought this prototype into the orchestra, and I've been playing it for a good 6 months at this point, full time, as soon as I brought it into the orchestra, it was immediately evident that it was going to make my life easier, that I would have more presence in the orchestra than I was used to, that this was an instrument that would really rise to the demands of a rigorous orchestral schedule, that it would really make it easier to sound the way that I want to sound. And so to me, whatever expectations or whatever standard we were aiming for has been exceeded to a point that I frankly didn't really expect to be possible when we first started this process.
It's been a great experience, yeah. It's been exciting working on something that I really think will change the market and will have an effect on how people rank Fox in their minds. I think it's going to change to, oh, have you tried the new Fox? I think that's going to be a line you're going to hear a lot. Have you tried the new Fox?
Don't underestimate the fun factor. Don't underestimate the fact that you try this, you put the instrument together, you start playing on it, you go, oh, this feels great. I'm having a great time. I want to play all day. Forget about eating. I just want to keep going playing on this thing. As I was saying to them, I don't know if you were in the room, when you're not going boom, 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 and you just pick one up and play it, it feels great. Because it's like trying to choose, a pearl. You got 5 pearls. Oh, I don't know, I don't like that one. In reality, if somebody just gave you the one you didn't, you'd be like, oh man, it's a pearl. It's like when I was choosing those pearls, in Hawaii for you, I just picked that thing up. That was H. I'm like, oh, this feels great.